So look, I was initially loath to talk about more than one of these episodes per video, but doing so proves, surprisingly, somewhat easy. Between She-Hulk episodes 5 and 6, I think I prefer 6, but they're both really fun character pieces, which, like episode 4, really capture the appeal of this show as a light, breezy, legal comedy with interesting, self-contained escapades. Between running gags like the fourth wall breaking and now consistent use of B-plots following Nikki, Mallory, or Pug, She-Hulk feels fully like a TV series rather than a movie split up into parts the way that the 6-episode shows have. Honestly, it makes me wish the show had even more episodes, because we are officially 2/3 of the way through the series, and I kinda wish that the antics of GLK&H could get a full multi-season run of 20-odd episodes a pop. You know, like a Community or a Parks and Rec. Although, of course, this one is way more expensive, so that explains that. And yes, I know The Office is the more natural point of comparison, but I've actually never watched that. Yeah, boo me in the comments. Although, What We Do in the Shadows only gets 10 a season, so I guess this isn't that far off. It's just that She-Hulk is the hardest that Marvel's committed to embracing specific genre staples in a long time, maybe ever. And it sucks that I can see the end in sight just as a really fun sitcom dynamic is forming. I like bringing back the dates from episode 4 as Jen's means of legally proving that she self-identifies as She-Hulk. It's not something that had ever occurred to me when that episode was over, but it says a lot that Jen herself wouldn't think about it after choosing to claim the name in that way via a dating app. I will say that bringing it back to the dates, and especially the concluding witness, makes episode 5 feel more like a coda to episode 4 than its own individual piece. And while I don't begrudge episodes 5 and 6 the lack of an end credits tag, I don't think that helps. On the subject of the comedy in this comedy series, I really love the show's consistent title gags. I love when a show does fun, small little format changes like that. And that plus Jen's fourth wall breaks are always a hoot. That aside though, there's actually only a couple of gags in episode 5 that really make me laugh. Maybe I'd get more out of that one if I was really into fashion or a sneakerhead, I don't know. I did love the smash cut to Nikki and Pug in bootleg Avengers get-ups. Episode 6 though, that one was a riot. Mr. Immortal is so much fun. In the last one of these videos, I talked about enjoying how this show gives us a shoes-on-the-ground, civilian-centric view of the MCU. And I like that with characters like Immortal, Titania, and Runa that include civilians with powers. The idea that there's just this immortal guy out there being an otherwise completely normal dude just tickles me. And him straight up bailing out of the window because he's just that conflict avoidant is genuinely hilarious. It would have been even more hilarious had it not been in the trailers, but given the full context, it's the hardest I've laughed in this entire show so far. The second hardest I've laughed is probably Jamila Jamil getting punched in the face. No offense intended. Jamil's actually really fun in the role of Titania when the show gives her something to do. And just as much as the staff at GLK&H, I think having an annoying, low-stakes, catty rivalry between her and Jen, she's like the Chang of this show. That wild card that exists just on the periphery of the central ensemble. It's a great role for Jamil to occupy, even and especially if you're someone who doesn't like her, and she does a good job with it. In a longer show, she'd get to feel a bit more entrenched in the role, I think, because prior to this, I felt she was just a bit of a missed opportunity. Titania's personality plus Jamila's screen presence should equal a complete scene stealer of a character, but in episode 5 especially, she feels so tame. But she's a great contrast to Jen regardless, in terms of being totally confident and self-assured in her shallowness. And having them come to blows again in episode 6 only for Titania to completely humiliate herself is a great way of externalizing Jen's growth. You know who else I really enjoy? Renee Elise Goldsberry as Mallory. I really like that Mallory is a consummate professional, but also has just a bit of bite and knows how to take pleasure in her work. She's a character who could so easily come off as cold rather than purely reasonable. And Goldsberry sells it exactly the way that it needs to be sold. And Goldsberry sells it exactly the way that it needs to be sold, though her dynamic with Ginger Gonzaga as Nikki helps a lot. That the two of them have a dynamic of mutual respect that goes beyond the goof and straight woman routine really helps to humanize them both. Really, the best thing I can say about She-Hulk at this stage is the best thing that I was able to say about WandaVision or Loki at their peak, which is that it feels wholly like somebody's brainchild. It's one of those things that doesn't feel at all compromised by its place in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and just commits wholeheartedly to what it wants to be. And what it wants to be is something that I vibe with a lot, but how do you feel about it? Sound off in the comments, like and subscribe, of course, and I'll see you in the future.